India's struggle for independence is a significant part of its history. A great deal of valor and heroism have been shown by many freedom fighters like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Bala Gangadhar Tilak, and many more. The women of our country also played a very critical role in this battle against the British. Do you know who was the first woman to fight the British and save her victory? Well, most people think it's Rani Lakshmibai. She was indeed a very heroic and an inspirational fighter. But there was once a woman who gave a tough fight and kept the Britishers at bay, much before the time of Rani Lakshmibai. Who was she? Let's find out. Velu Nachiyar, or fondly known as Veeramangai, was born on the 3rd of January 1730. She was the only child of King Chellamuthu Sethupathi and Queen Chattandi Muttathal Nachiyar of Ramanathapuram, Tamil Nadu, India. Being their only daughter, she grew up as a prince and not as a princess, and was raised as the prospective heir to the throne. This meant that she was not only raised to fulfill the responsibilities of a princess, but was also trained in several ancient martial art forms, including Silambam, Balari, mace fighting, and horseback riding. Apart from this, she was also eloquent in Tamil, English, Urdu, and French. A few years back, a sudden war broke out under the rule of King Chellamuthu Sethupathi. After the war, the Ramnad kingdom was divided into two parts. One part, renamed as Shivagangai, was given to Sasivarma Thevar, who was a critical ally in the war, and Chellamuthu Sethupathi, Velu Nachiyar's father, retained the other part. At the tender age of 16, Velu Nachiyar was married to Muthu Vaduganatha Periya Udaya Thevar, the only son of Sasivarma Thevar and Akhilandeshwari Nachiyar. During these years, the entire Ramnad kingdom prospered. In 1772 CE, bad times began. The Nawab of Arcot, who ruled over the Carnatic region, joined hands with the British and claimed sovereignty over many southern kingdoms. The Nawab levied taxes and collected them on behalf of the East India Company. As the king of Shivagangai refused to pay the taxes, he was attacked and killed in the Kalayar Koil War. The brutal death of the king led to the annexation of Shivagangai by the Nawab in June 1772 CE. Fortunately, Velu Nachiyar and Velachi, her baby daughter, escaped. She was determined to get her kingdom back, so she stayed in Virubakshi, Dindakkal, planning and gathering allies for creating an attack. A few years later, she discovered an ally in Hyder Ali, the ruler of Mysore. Ali himself had a not so good relationship with the Nawab and the British. So the Sultan, impressed by the Queen's proficiency in Urdu, her courage and resoluteness, agreed to help her get her kingdom back. With the help of financial support and extra troops provided by Hyder Ali, Velu Nachiyar assembled a very powerful army to defeat the British. Every Vijayadasami, the women of Shivagangai would gather at the Rajarajeshwari temple near the palace. Taking advantage of this situation, she launched her well-planned attack. Velu Nachiyar and her army camouflaged and became one with the gathering. They hid their weapons in a fruit basket and made their way inside the temple. But the army's weapons were unmatched in comparison with that of the British forces. At this point, her commander-in-chief Kuili volunteered to carry out the suicide mission. Upon Kuili's orders, 3 of her companions were instructed to pour oil on her. Then, with her head held high, a brave Kuili lit herself on fire. Within a few minutes, the room exploded. Kuili was the first recorded suicide bomber in Indian history. This ultimate sacrifice of Kuili paved the way for their triumph. After her victory against the British, Velu Nachiyar reigned over the Shivagangai kingdom for almost a decade. The Marudu brothers, her fellow escapees from the Kalayar Koil War, were given administrative positions in the kingdom of Shivagangai. Velu Nachiyar's daughter, succeeded her to the throne and ruled from 1790 to 1793 CE. The 66-year-old valiant queen passed away in 1796 CE in Shivagangai, her hometown. Visionaries like Velu Nachiyar must be remembered for generations. Her ideals must be passed on, and this story must not stop here. Jai Hind.